Okay, so as you see, we are many authors, but basically 4 authors are part of the Integrative Levels Classification Research Project. That is me, Douglas, Ceri, and Patrícia, while the 2 others are rather experts in traditional dances. In particular, Romana runs an association teaching and researching Italian traditional dances. So I will start from the problem of complexity. This man is a nice man. He was awarded the Nobel Prize for Physics 2 years ago, Giorgio Parisi, and the reason of the Nobel Prize is research on complex systems. And among other things, Parisi claimed that we should not reduce any knowledge object to a single level of description. So it deals in a way also with knowledge organization. And this is a call for interdisciplinarity in knowledge organization. And this fits our approach. So when we come to representing knowledge in knowledge organization systems, we may need to express complex combinations of concepts. For example, Sergel observed that to express the benefit of a certain dosage of a chemical to a certain combination of conditions, severity, age, and sex, you need a network of concepts. You need a powerful syntax. And so the word is not built of triples. So maybe just listing a series of triples may be not enough. So sometimes knowledge to be represented is very complex. And one way to represent and organize complex contents is faceted classification, as it was claimed even this year in the most recent paper by Van der Broughton. So it's a technique that we have and we can apply. Some authors think that faceted classification may be too demanding for indexers because it's complex, or also for users, of course. Also another problem is that complex classification is not always reflected in retrieval interfaces. We will have a presentation by David Haynes later this morning on how library catalogs can implement classification and subject access in general. So we are developing this general classification scheme, as some of you may know. It's called the Integrative Levels Classification. This is the current developing version, as the scheme is evolving a bit. So basically, it lists main classes represented by small caps and listed in an order of integrative levels. ILC as facets, and it has. We identified 3 basic kinds of facets, which exist also in other faceted classifications by different names. For example, you have 3 facets when you combine a basic concept like Easter feasts with a class from a completely different part of the scheme, such as sculpture. Sculpture is not connected directly to feasts, but it can be a free facet. You can have parallel facet when you combine it with a class taken from a different part of the schedules, but you use a shortened combination, a shortened notation to express it. So you use a parallel schedule in the class of Easter feast, for example, Easter feast typical of Lombardy. And this is the way I deal with it in the example. And you can have bound facets when the concept is defined in the very class of custom traditions, as in this case. So Easter feasts have processions, but processions are only a facet of customs and traditions, not from, they are not from another class. And then all these different kinds of facets you can combine in a quite complex, admittedly, notation, but which has a prescribed syntax and predictable syntax, like in this example in ILC. So you may think that this example is quite weird, but I will now show a source which needs to be indexed just in this way. Okay, we have published with Ceri Bending and Douglas Tudhope ISKO's representation of ILC. This also has challenges. We use the sub-properties of ISKOs related to represent the facet categories 0 to 9. We represented facets as subclasses of RDF property, and we decided not to include faceted compounds. So again, complex causes such as faceted classification needs appropriate treatment in representation. At the same time, we want to that our classification is understood and is tested by actual users. So to show the potential of freely faceted classification, we think of demos on intuitive and popular domains. For example, just classify movies or fiction contexts so that people can grasp the idea of the classification. And we also want to produce some easy-to-use interfaces and make it publicly available on the internet. An example can be this famous international website for movies, IMDb, where users can navigate quite complex networks of relationships between directors, movies, actors, and subjects, and so and so. So we wanted to develop something like this. We wanted to develop some demonstrator. There are already demonstrators of faceted systems in the literature, especially these developed by the Hypermedia Research Group at the University of South Wales, again, including Douglas and Ceri. This was the so-called facet project. You see the graphics is the one of the time, but the basic idea is that. And also within the ILC project, we developed an ILC-based interface, first edition of ILC, the acoustic reference database. Unfortunately, the bioacoustics leading researcher Gianni Pavan passed away this year. This was so the user a set of facets to choose from, and this could also be combined with author and title search. So now this is the new demonstrator we are developing. It deals this time with a more simple subject, that is traditional feasts and traditional events throughout Europe, which are displayed as YouTube videos. So something that the user can maybe understand more readily. This is the home page of the demonstrator. You have 5 facets. So we now see an example of visualization of facets rather than a visualization of hierarchies as in the previous presentations. The most common facets we show, they are customs, region, symbols, rights, and musical instruments. So what the user has to do is just to click on 2 or 3 of these facets, of the values of these facets, and by the click will make the corresponding notation in the search bar through JavaScript instructions. So we don't show the complexities of notation, but we do use them to perform the query. Okay, and also a truncation character percent is automatically inserted. This is important for the syntax of faceted classification because it means that also subclasses of Easter or subclasses of Italy can be searched for. Indeed, in the results, we will see that subclasses of Italy, like Lombardy or Campania, will be shown. So we are trying to exploit the powerful syntax of faceted classification without asking the user to go into the details. This is an example of the results. Actually, the results of this query. You have on the left the embedded videos from YouTube, and on the right the corresponding in classmark, faceted classmark with its captions. And now the user can just click on the video and play it. So one functionality is maybe the comparison between different feasts and different features of such feasts in different countries and so on. The class mark is automatically parsed and the captions are displayed. This is another complex aspect that we try to make understandable. And the videos are sorted by class mark according to the rules of faceted classification, citation order, and so on. Okay, this is a detail of a faceted caption. As you can see, we have 3 facets in this example. Each facet is translated automatically by a PHP code. For example, Easter, typical of Lombardia, itinerant begging, and by voice. This is an excerpt of the PHP code, sorry, of the PHP code. The algorithm has to parse in a way corresponding to the syntax of ILC. So if there is a free facet, then it's displayed. Otherwise, if there is a bound facet, it's displayed. Otherwise, the facet is parallel by exclusion. I will not go into the detail, but it's just to give you an idea of how notation can be exploited automatically. Okay, the second example in the previous results is an especially complex case. You see there are a lot of facets, but this is a real feast in southern Italy. It's called the feast of Madonna delle Galline. That is chicken Saint Mary. And I will try to show a short excerpt of the feast. This feast involves many features. There are religious aspects and not non-religious aspects. There are musical instruments. There are birds, a chicken, and also other birds. There are sculptures. So all this is integrated in a very complex event. So we believe that all these facets are actually needed to run this event. Just to give an idea, we have birds embedded in the feast and so on. Okay, back to the presentation. So, one question here is
you have 10 minutes
okay.
left.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to finish. One relevant question here is which teams, which elements of the FIST are worth representing? This is in a way the same question Douglas posed yesterday for about significance of a concept to be annotated in their work. And this is an interesting research question. One problem when you deal with the interface is the zero match problem. That is, some combinations of facets may have no matches. This is a known problem, and to face it, we are developing more code. For example, if results are less than 2, we automatically drop one facet. This is also a possibility in exploiting faceted classification. And you get this message, partially matching documents are also shown. Okay. So, for example, is an application, full application of faceted classification. As Broughton observes, this is not the same as just a faceted navigation interface. This is an application of the full complexity of facet analysis. This does not mean that you have to use all these facets when using ILC. ILC also can be used in a tag style free way, but in this particular demonstrator, we want to test the full faceted class marks. And this, of course, this is more useful for specialized subject rather than for general collections. Okay. Future work include indexing more videos. We have 62 at the time, but we are selecting more relevant representative European FISTs, and this is where the Dancing Boot Association is helping. We want to write code for subfacets to manage particular cases. We want to allow expansion by individual facets to improve the balance between recall and relevance. And we plan to build an online class mark builder for ILC, which will be based on the same algorithm. What you need is to find the right degree of complexity for your application. Thank you.